There's more to life than what we think we know. I'm Micky, and I created this space so we can learn new perspectives by sharing our journeys. I believe communication and transparency is the key to growth. So if you're ready for raw conversations about real experiences and life lessons that we can all learn from, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to More by Micky. Hi everyone, I'm Micky and this is More by Micky. I'm here with Iani.
Hi guys, how are you?
And I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Iani Silveira. I am a board-certified family nurse practitioner and the owner of Bella Vida Aesthetics and Wellness in downtown Miami.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read your quote.
Okay.
And
Great.
No nerves. Just share with everyone what comes to mind when you hear it and what it strikes. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
So, number one, this is a quote I feel like everybody should listen to because I always say to every one of my clients, my friends, family, we do have two choices, right? The right choice and the wrong choice. The wrong choice, you usually almost like double think it and you have to ask 10, 15 people like, hey, should I do this? If you ever have to second guess yourself, the answer is no.
Oh, interesting.
For me,
okay.
Right? And this is just what I preach. But when it comes to growth, you know the right answer. And if someone were to give you, let's just say, a big lump sum of money or freedom to do it, you would always choose the growth.
Okay. So how do you know when to listen to your actual gut or when it's your nerves, and which one? Second questions. How would you differentiate between that?
It's almost like an exciting nervousness. So like when you're in love, right? Like you're just starting to feel the butterflies. That is a good nervousness, anxious feeling. Usually when you're doing something wrong, or like, let's say when we were kids, you failed a test and you didn't want to show it to your parents, that nervous feeling, but like you're kind of like inside of yourself, you don't want to talk to anybody because you know you did something wrong. So two completely different feelings, but one's more exciting and something to look forward to. The other one's like, let me become a hermit.
So one's a positive nerves.
Correct.
And one's negative nerves.
Correct.
Because I always seem to struggle with second questioning a lot of things that I do, even on a regular. Should I wear this? Should I not? But a lot of it I find is just chatter in our head, not only based on our past experiences that somehow in some ways weren't even our own. We adapted them from other people. And other times it's like chatter in my head. Am I doing the right thing? Will I fail?
So that's the good nervousness about the failing, right?
Okay.
So if you put yourself out there, no matter what, you have a possibility of failing. But let's just say you fail and you try it again and you succeed. Right. So it's almost like just like a little bit of a growing phase. But also we're women, right? So we always have this chatter in our head.
Always.
Should I talk to him? Should I go on this date? Should I do this networking event? Should I dress better? Should I dress down? Am I too much? Am I too little? So I feel like psychologically we psych ourselves out no matter what.
No matter what.
But I like that conversation because it lets me know when I'm excited for something.
Okay.
Right? Like, what am I going to wear today? Who are you trying to impress? What are you trying to exude as a woman and someone in this world? What are you trying to show people who you are?
What's your goal?
Correct.
Right.
So again, like a nice nervousness.
Okay. Yeah. The exciting nervousness.
Exactly.
The butterflies.
The butterflies.
I'll always remember because the butterflies now. I would like to know a little bit more about your story personally, about how you are here today.
So rewind a little
bit. Totally back to the beginning.
So I come from an immigrant family, came from Brazil. My dad had, I would say, like 5 jobs. My mom doing the same thing, taking care of kids. Like they gave up their lifestyle to make us grow and become professionals. So in my family, there's only 2 jobs that are successful.
Okay.
A doctor or a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
My
Very
brother,
similar to other cultures.
Right. So my brother became a lawyer. Actually, he got his MBA, CPA, went back to law school. And then he went back to get his LLM, which is for tax law. So he's a big deal. He's very smart, very organized. So to my family, he's like number one.
Right.
And he's awesome. So then I went to school and I was studying medicine, and I kind of sidetracked myself because college, it's fun, and went to nursing school, got my nurse practitioner. Family was kind of like, why don't you just go back to med school?
Become a doctor.
Become a doctor. You need that DR, right? So went to school, master's. I eventually can call myself a doctor, but nurse practitioner, right? So family was kind of like disappointed, but they saw kind of what I did in my life. So at first I started working at a hospital because you need to get your foot in the door. So I worked pediatrics for like 9 years.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Actually,
wow.
I would rather work with kids than adults. Like,
I was going to say, are you liking the adults? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a transition, but with kids, you don't get paid as much, even though I loved it.
Okay.
So working nights, working weekends, working holidays, working for a hospital just was not for me. And I was like trying to find a way to get out of it, because it's 12-hour shifts. You're the doctor's slave, you're the patient's slave. And yes, like it was an awesome job, but I wanted a little bit more freedom. I wanted to vacation for 3 weeks and go to Italy or go to Brazil with my family for, Christmas and New Year's. And I couldn't do that working in the hospital.
Right.
Granted, I know I need to put in my time in, right? So I started talking to a couple friends. I'm like, I really want to get into aesthetics. The injectables, making people feel beautiful, regenerative medicine as well. So I was doing stem cells, PRP, just trying to make people feel better than they did in the hospital, right? Because this is modern day medicine and this is fun medicine.
Right.
So little by little, I started doing trainings, started investing in my future, which was really hard on a nurse's salary.
How did you invest in your future at that point?
So, I was living with an ex-boyfriend and he made good money. So I was able to save a lot and invest in that education. So training to do what I do is very expensive. You have to call a plastic surgeon, another injector, a dermatologist, and nobody ever wants to teach you anything. Right. Because why am I going to teach you my skills to make you better than me? It just doesn't work like that. So it was a tough road, spent a lot of money, was still working at the hospital. And then I started seeing patients on a Saturday, getting a couple clients and a couple clients. And all my friends were telling me, you're never going to make it in this world. It's too hard to get in. You're not a dermatologist. Like, just stop and just work your 9 to 5 or your 12-hour shifts. Like, everybody's doing it. Look how many nurses there are and doctors in the world that are doing this.
In that time, how were you staying focused on your end goal when you're hearing this chatter from all the people who are supposed to be your number one fan and support you and push you? What drove you to keep going? Or was self-doubt really a thing?
It was a huge thing, right? So I would listen to them, and these are the closest people to my life that I have. I love you guys, so I'm going to listen to your advice. And they just kept saying, no, it's too expensive. You don't have the right connections. And so that's when I learned to shut my mouth about what I'm doing, about any projects.
So that would be part of your advice, is sometimes keep things quiet.
I would say,
your journey.
I say privacy is peace. I will not tell anybody my new projects, like maybe a handful of people. And now I have a really good support system. But I don't tell them what time I'm doing it, when I'm launching it. Like when I was opening up this office, people just knew that I moved and I'm doing construction, nothing else until I finally, gave sneak peeks. Right. So I think being private about everything, relationship, your problems, your weight loss, you're gaining weight, you're going to the gym, keep it quiet.
Where's the fine line between keeping things quiet so you don't hear other people's chatter and opinion that really ultimately don't matter, and then having a few people that are a sounding board for you, that allow you the space and room to become who you need to be, but are also there for you?
There's not that many people in the world.
Okay.
So, I have a positive side to it and a negative side. Okay. So the positive side is, yes, I have that very healthy group of friends. And now that I'm an adult, it's becoming healthier, right? So I have you in my circle.
Right.
I have Amanda, who's helping me with my fitness, nutrition. I have a mentor who's a dermatologist, and there's no competition. Like, we just literally like to help each other.
Right.
So this is very rare for me because I don't like having a lot of people know what I'm doing or
Like
in my
inside
corner.
your circle, right.
So it's maybe like 5 to 7 people who actually know
Right.
really what my life is. Now, the rest of the world that I ask opinions for, it's mostly just to see what their answer is going to be, because most people are haters, and those people are always going to bring you down. Mm-hmm. And they're going to say, this isn't necessary. You're working out too much. You look too skinny. You are going to the beach too much. Everything is always too much to people who think you're going to do better than them, which mentally, it sucks, right? Because you want everybody to support each other. That's just not the world that we're living in. It's always like keeping up with the Joneses. Everyone's trying to one up each other. So that's the only reason why I say privacy is peace. Those people should not matter. So I feel like when you're asking people's opinion, that's your circle. Those are the people you have to ask.
When you value
exactly
whose opinion is actually coming in.
Right. Like sound advice, right. Not Joe Schmo at the gym who's like, nah, bro, you're good. You don't need that. It's okay. Just because
you're like, oh shoot, I'm doing this for nothing.
Right. So, and it does, like, when we get negative answers from people, it stays with us, and then we overthink, and
little
then we
by little it sprinkles in.
It's
really,
horrible.
Really does.
Right.
And we don't realize that, but subconsciously it will trigger something
eats away
from the past.
Yeah. So it's like I'm trying to create new habits with good people. The first red flag I see, it just makes me like scoot away. Right. Miscommunication, okay, once or twice, fine. Expectations, work ethic, family lifestyle, like those are all very important things. And if you don't align with what my vision is and my growth for myself and my future, I really do kind of like just cut them out quick.
Right. Wow. So we got into a little bit how you wanted to somehow create your own. Mm-hmm. What were the first things that you found were almost a struggle from going from working for someone or an organization or a hospital to working on your own?
I think the scariest, I think the scariest thing for most people is actually starting, mm-hmm. right? Because to begin any new journey, it takes time and money. And most people say, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. We do have time. We make time. Because working for somebody, I only had to work 3 12-hour shifts, and then I had freedom. Right. And I always knew a paycheck was coming in. Now working for myself and starting a business took time and money. Yeah. And that's scary because...
And patience.
Correct. And that eventually all of it runs out. And you want to kill everyone, right? So I think the biggest thing for me was I had a friend who was a lawyer, and he's like, just go on Sunbiz and start the business. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out a name, and I will just go in there. It takes, I don't know, $150. We'll get you the LLC, and then see how you feel, and let's start from there. I'm like, okay. And I had already had patients. I already have my license at this point. So this was in 2015. I was living in Tampa. Had an ex-boyfriend, and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I have nothing else going on. I was working at Johns Hopkins. I was working for a family practice, going to the hospital. So I was doing everything because I was trying to save up money. Right. Eventually, I just like had an aha moment. I packed my entire house, put it in a storage. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. I got up. There was a hurricane coming to Tampa. Packed my stuff.
It's always a hurricane.
It forced me. Like, I have to be forced to do things.
Apparently,
if not, I'm
the
just
storm
like,
was gonna force you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Moved, went to New York, went to go look for a job, went to California for a month, looked for a job. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to Miami, close to my family, and restart my business. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done. And financially, that was the biggest push I ever had because I was broke. Like, I had 7 credit cards that were maxed out, like up to $50K. I got my car repoed. That was embarrassing. I didn't want to work for anybody, but I was like, you know what? I'm starting out again in a new city. let me put in my work again.
Right.
So I got 3 different jobs at 3 different clinics. I'm already good at what I do. So, I started meeting people, clients, getting to know the reps from the pharmaceutical companies. And little by little, they're like, damn, this girl does really good work. Boom, started building myself up until I kept going with my concierge business and paid off all my debt. It was such a relief.
Like liberating.
Like, you don't understand how much stress it is when you're doing something by yourself and then that financial burden is on top. And I feel like that's a lot of why people don't change stuff.
It is. It's a fear.
Because it's like, what if I fall?
Right.
Yeah, fall. I'll fall 100 times now. I don't care. If you take away all my money right now and everything, I might be depressed for a year, but I'll build it back up.
Right.
And I'll come back better than ever.
Right. Well, that you learn in your own resilience, and you learned in your own, the process that you had to go through in order to become who you are today. That's how you learn. But what if someone's at the point, what would you say to someone at the point now where they're like, I don't have the money to invest in myself. How do I get started? I'm lost.
So first off, let's just say in my situation, right? You need some sort of background education. Don't become a life coach because you, I don't know, started believing in crystals and astrology. Like that holds
Why not? It sounds amazing.
No water. But if you have a background and an education, something that you can prove to people, start putting out the word, right? So like on Instagram, it's so easy to market ourselves now.
And really
for free. So marketing yourself and explaining, because someone's always going to understand what you're going through, and that's how you get your audience.
So it's going to take a little bit of ignition for the right person who actually would believe in you.
Correct. And actually, it should be yourself, right? We should all be able to talk ourselves into doing the best thing, right? So that nervousness, again, is it asking somebody their opinion for that nervousness and they're like, that they're going to tell you, don't do that.
Right.
That's a negative. Or you go to your best friend and it's like, I'm going to start a business. Let's pop champagne. Right. Let's start. Let's write it. Let's put it on a board. And I feel like I do that a lot with my girlfriends only because I never had someone to do that for me. I'm like, all right, tell me about your plan, business plan. I have whiteboards all over my house. I write on my mirrors. Here at the office, I have whiteboards. All right, what's your business plan? Boom, we write it out. What's your next plan? Or what's your end goal? Boom. And we, kind of just make like diagrams. Because sometimes all you need is that like little hour with someone who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. And you're like, there is a plan.
Right.
There's a strategic way to
it's
get
scary. The in-between is really scary, especially when all you have is yourself. Even if you have the background, it's like, now what? So it is good to have someone else to like bounce it off, give you a little bit of a fresh perspective, but it's about finding the line of who believes in you and who wants to see you succeed or fail.
And also choosing the people who believe in you, right? Because we do kind of like crutch on our relationships, like let's say romantic relationships. And those, I would say in my head, are not forever. They're for a chapter. So is this person going to be that shining light and kind of like just leading the way for you to grow so you guys could grow together? That's that chapter. But also there could be relationships that bring you down. Again, that nervousness, right? Like who are you going to choose to be in your corner? Who are you going to choose to kind of break you down? Like, when you were starting the podcast, right? How many friends were like, oh, that's going to be cool. No, F you. I'm going to start. If it goes well, awesome. I have something to get off my chest. I have a lot to talk about. Yeah. And if it relates to somebody, then at least
then my goal is like, check, we're good.
Exactly.
Like, that's really what the goal is here. What happens in the days when you struggle? I don't mean financially. I mean, everyone has hard days.
Emotionally, physically.
How do you handle those?
Okay, so I have a crazy, weird routine. Number one, every morning I wake up, take little Shusha, my dog, on a walk, have my coffee, and I put on really loud Eric Thomas.
Okay.
Because for me, when I get motivation from people, I actually need people screaming at me like, you can do it.
Do your neighbors
stop.
like get a little nervous, or at this point they're
what?
like, you can do it?
They're like rooting for me. You see like the fireworks
Pom
outside.
pom.
But I put that really loud while I'm getting ready to go to the gym. That's a morning routine that I will not change from, because mentally it puts me in the mode to work, to deal with anything else in the day. It does throw me off when I don't do that, or I go out and drink too much, because then I won't wake up, then I don't walk the dog, then she pees and poops in the house.
Right.
And then
it just throws your whole day off.
Throws it off.
So being diligent in your routine.
The routine for me, and it sucks because, we always want to be on vacation, and it's like, we kind of want to go with our friends. Right. But Monday through Friday, it's a strict routine. And if I stick to that, my days are so good. I'm calling patients, I'm working, I'm, talking to family, talking to friends. I get to do everything. Once I get thrown off of that routine, it's like a spiral. I'll stay on the couch all day and just order Uber Eats. So
really?
And I have those days, and which I love.
Everyone's entitled to their days.
Right.
Right. Totally. But is there a way that you get
out of it?
But like, I'll give you an example. Me, I also have a routine. I wake up 5:30, no matter what. It doesn't matter what time I went to bed. I wake up 5:30. I do my gratitude journal while I'm drinking my coffee.
There you go.
By 6:40, I have to wake up my kids, so I get that little chunk of time to myself. And then obviously after gym, start the day. But no matter what, I do hold my little teeny itty bitty routine. But then there's days that I don't really want to do much else after that, which I do give myself. This is new for me. I give myself the grace to relax. Say it's okay.
Yeah.
If I don't want to do anything that day. Or I'll try it for a few hours, not the whole entire day. I'm like, come on, Micky, you got to get moving. But is there a balance in between for you?
I'm very black and white. So it's either I'm in a routine, no one can get me out of it. And these are like one of those weeks that I'm like, no one.
She's on fire.
Don't ask me to go out. Don't ask me to go for a drink. Nothing. But then I know once the weekend comes, I will not do any work. I don't care if I'm on a routine. If I wake up, I'll go to the gym at any time. But it's almost, there is no balance for me. It's either you're resting and hanging out, or you're working and you're in it to win it. I would say the last time that I feel like I was not, I wouldn't say depressed, just like in a rut and didn't know how to get out of it. Again, that small circle that I have, I will call them and I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling good. I know that those 5 people will drop everything and be like,
but that's huge that you even allow yourself, like I give myself grace to say it's okay to sit on the couch. You give yourself grace to reach out to people.
Oh yeah.
That's huge.
Which
that may be your balance.
That's something to, like, I had to learn that.
Right. But that may be your new, like your way of balancing.
Because those people, they'll always say the right thing.
Right.
Right. So one of my best friends is a mental health psychologist. So I call her a lot and I'm like, I feel crazy today. And she's like, me too. I'm like, fine.
It's not just you.
Fine. It's a great Monday.
Exactly.
Or like my cousin, who's my best friend too. She's so positive. This girl does not have a smile on her face. And for every problem I find, she has a solution. So again, that's my circle.
Right.
So I will reach out to those people because they've proved themselves loyal to me and they don't judge me.
Right.
Or if they do, they make it a joke. And I'm like, whatever.
Right. You're like,
don't
I know
hurt
I'm
my
saying
feelings.
the same thing.
But I think it is hard for women and men to reach out to anybody because you think that nobody's going through the same thing.
A lot of people don't want to burden someone else with their issues.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, like that circle.
Right.
Right? It's the right people. Because I have girlfriends that I could call and be like, oh my God, business is going bad. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, my business is doing great and this is what's going on and I'm going to France and
beautiful.
This. Right. And so I'm like, why did I even call you? For what? So I've learned who to call, who not to call. But it is very hard to ask for help for anything.
Yeah.
And again, these people have proven themselves to me. Like, this was actually a huge thing that happened to me. So when I moved from Tampa to Miami, I actually had the choice of getting an apartment or a studio, struggle, try to pay off some things, live with my parents, which I was like, no. And then my cousin, who I was just talking about, is my best friend. She's like, first of all, she lives in a beautiful mansion. Her husband is fantastic, the smartest businessman I ever met. And so I got the west wing of the house.
Okay.
And I stayed there for a year and a half.
Wow.
I did not tell anybody I was there. I wasn't dating. I wasn't going out. I had to respect their household. So what I did was hustle, hustle, hustle. I paid off all those credit cards.
You hunkered down.
I paid off my car, so that never got repoed again. I got those extra jobs, and then I was able to build my clientele. A year and 2 months into it, I saw that, I was like overstepping my boundary, and I was like, all right, it's time. I have money in the bank. Everything's paid off. I'm going to go get a house. And I did. And then that's when, she boosted me a lot to grow.
She gave you that time,
yeah,
that platform to really believe in yourself.
And a lot of people, again, reaching out to people is very important, but the right people, not the people who are going to bring you down.
So if you had to give advice to the world of one life lesson that you would want them to learn from, what would it be?
I would say nothing cheesy like believe in yourself. No, keep everything private, bunker down, and work, because nothing comes easy. Right. You might be broke for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but on the 5th year, you become a multimillionaire because someone spoke to somebody, helped somebody, and that person helped you back. All it takes is one person. So when you're focused and you're passionate about what you do, people actually feel that. And they
feel that energy.
They feel it, and they want to help you because they see how much passion, how much happiness it brings you. Those are the people you want around.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for this.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for welcoming me here. Yes. And
I'm so excited. I think this is going to be a huge project for you. I'm so happy, and I can't wait to see all of the podcasts.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.